Meeting and council to order. Ask everyone to please rise for our national anthem. Really?
It's like happy birthday, somebody has to start.
Thank you. Please be seated. In typical Canadian fashion, we stumble through, slightly embarrassed for seeing quality. Well, some of us anyway, speaking for myself. All right, I'll take we have 1.0 additions to the agenda. We have the 5.1 Prostate Cancer Awareness Month proclamation. And although it wasn't, not properly speaking, an addition, I don't think, because 7.2 was on the agenda, it's just the backgrounder has now been provided, so that's good. So with the addition of 5.1, take a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Long, all in favor? That's carried. Any corrections or amendments to the August 3rd, 2016 regular meeting and council minutes? Councillor Bossert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The minutes of August 3rd at 8.3, the sentence reads, Eric Burton provided council a report. It would read better if it read provided council with a report. And in 8.5, the sentence reads, Mr. Russell informed council of the activities within the communications regarding, so whether that should be the communications department or communications and marketing, there's just something lacking there for the sentence. Thank you.
A couple of editorial comments then that don't substantively change the reflection of the minutes, but nonetheless they're astute observations as always. And so with that, are there any other corrections or amendments? All right, seeing none, take a motion to adopt the August 3rd, 2016 regular meeting of council minutes as with the proposed amendments from Councillor Bossert. Councillor Schuler, all in favor? That's carried. All right, item 5.0 is proclamation for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. It is in September 2016, and we thought it appropriate to do it in advance. Otherwise, our next council meeting is roughly mid-month, and so we will have lost half the month. So, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas cancer is the most common cancer to affect Canadian men, and whereas 1 in 8 Canadian men will be diagnosed with the disease in his lifetime, whereas an estimated 24,000 Canadian men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer this year, and whereas the survival rate for prostate cancer can be over 90% when detected early, whereas those with a family history of the disease or those of African or Caribbean descent are at greater risk of developing prostate cancer, and whereas Prostate Cancer Canada recommends that men get a PSA test in their 40s to establish their baseline. Now therefore, I, Glenn McLean, Mayor of the Town of Drayton Valley, do hereby proclaim September 2016 as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in the Town of Drayton Valley. And carrying on, item 6.0 is our delegations. We have, is Staff Sergeant Callahoo here? No? Okay. Well, let's go to 6.2, Tour of Alberta. We have the co-chairs, Trina Jolie and Sandra Banner, with us. This will be way better than Staff Sergeant Callahoo, I'm fairly sure. Since he's not in the room. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you again for hearing from us. We are just a little over a week away from the Tour of Alberta starting actually in Lethbridge and then hitting our town limits on Saturday, September 3rd. I think when the mayor called me in June, I didn't really necessarily understand the scope of what we were maybe taking on.
Thank goodness.
But I am so thankful that I got that call and thankful to have been included with the amazing group that Sandra really put together. The team we have had has done an amazing amount of work in a very short period of time. And so I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to be a part of this.
Okay, if we can just advance the slide there. So just as you recall, Trina had said the tour will start in Lethbridge, but our stage 3 day, you recall, begins in Rocky Mountain House. The riders will come on a 182-kilometer trek to Drayton Valley, completing, as you know, just in front of the bakery and the clock tower there in front of ATB. The course, you can advance the slide there, my friend. Thank you. Maybe one more. There we go. The course, as you recall, will do a 4-loop course in the town limits of Drayton Valley. So we have done a lot of work to ensure that we've reached out to businesses and residents that are going to be affected by those limitations of the roadways being closed. So.
And just a special note, yesterday they did announce some provisional rosters for the Tour of Alberta. So we do know some of the riders that are attending. It includes many stage winners from the Tour de France. Ryder Hesjedal, I know that he's one of the most famous Canadian cyclists. He will be here. It's apparently going to be one of his final races of his career, which is pretty cool. So it was really neat to see that start to come out and the information that those riders will actually be in our town, which is pretty cool. If you want to the next one, thank you. So I know we've talked previously to you guys about volunteers, and we have a great update today because we, as of yesterday, have 120 registered volunteers. So I know the last time we were here, that number was not even close to that, but Pat Jeffrey and Jeanette Vatter did a lot of work and trying to comb the streets and get people out. We're still hopeful that there'll be some more volunteers come out of the woodwork here in the next week. But basically our number to complete the race at a minimum is 130. We have some sponsors that have also provided some volunteers, so we are at that number. If we can get to the 160 number, it would still be great, but it's not necessary. But we won't turn any volunteers away. We are having a volunteer orientation on Thursday evening at the CETC Center, or I guess it's just the CETC. And it is at 6:30 till 8. There will be a representative from the Medalist Sports. Evan is his name. He is the volunteer coordinator for the entire Tour of Alberta. He will be here to do a presentation to give everybody some information. We welcome anybody that wants to come and attend and just learn a little bit more about the tour. The mayor will be there as well. On another note, we also did secure a volunteer sponsor, which is Duncan Craig, LLP, which is awesome. So we are able to provide our volunteers with a nice package of stuff. We're giving them a little sport pack. There'll be some goodies in there, like a water bottle and snack for the race day, some other stuff like hand sanitizer, lip balm, all that stuff. We also have McDonald's that is going to do refreshments for volunteers that day, so coffee and juice and water. So I think we're very thankful that these volunteers have all come forward, and I think we're going to be able to hopefully recognize them appropriately.
Okay, the next thing, last time we were here, we presented you a kind of potential schedule of events. Well, we're happy to say this is the ratified schedule of events. So we have made that available to you today. Trina just handed out. It's a little tricky to read up there. As you'll recall, we have events scheduled for both Friday and Saturday. Friday we'll have a free barbecue sponsored by Rotary at CETC, followed by a family bike ride, if you're interested in participating in that, with a drive-in movie, or you can sit on the deck at the CETC and watch the movie outside if the weather is fine. The movie is The Sandlot. Saturday morning, we begin with a pancake breakfast done at the 55 Plus Senior Center. That will run from 9 till 11:30. And then we have our festival area opening up, and you can see the roster of activities we have going on for the festival. It's pretty chock full. We've got a great kids zone lined up. We've got a bike rodeo that the RCMP are helping us out with. We have beer gardens that will be there. We will have vendors selling all sorts of things in a market area. We have food trucks. And we have an entertainment stage that I think is going to be absolutely excellent. We've got some great acts lined up. We've got Danny Hooper emceeing that stage, so it should be a lot of fun. And we'll have some activities for the crowd to get involved with, some minute-to-win-it type games. So we're hoping that it'll be a really interactive and fun opportunity for people as they come down to the festival area. And then, of course, the highlight of it all, we'll have the finish line of the race and the awards presentations.
Okay, so just to kind of give you guys an update of awareness and what we've done, the piece that you see in front of you, we're actually mailing out to 4,000 plus homes in the Drayton Valley area. That's going out this week, which is pretty spectacular, trying to get it out to everybody. And then we visited over 150 businesses in the month of July and August. Twice, to make sure that everybody was aware of the road closures, to speak face-to-face with most business owners, to answer any questions or concerns that they may have. We also sent to every resident that was affected by the route. That included trailer parks, the apartment buildings right behind the Civic Center, and different places like that. We also hosted 2 open houses. One was a volunteer open house, one was a business open house. And so we would answer questions. We secured a couple more volunteers at the volunteer one, and we answered some questions and helped work through some issues with some of the downtown business owners. At the business open house, we have been at every single farmers market in Drayton Valley in the month of August. We were there every other week in July. We also had a team go to Steba Beach and Evansburg to the markets to try to reach out to other communities. Some volunteers and have come from those communities as well, but more importantly, people were aware of the event, and they were excited for the events that we were putting on and wanting to come here and see it all come together, which was great. We have a Facebook page that Tyler has been running basically by himself, because we haven't really been that good at doing anything on there, but it has been great. There's been lots of likes and views and different things, trying to reach out that way through social media. The website as well that Tyler put together. Our signage situation, I don't know if you guys have probably all seen the north and south entrance signs that we had, just as trying to get the word out there a little. We were on the electronic sign. Jen has been running that for us. We've tried to get posters to every business in this community, try to get the word out again that way. We've been to the radio multiple times. We'll be there this week on Thursday morning and next week as well. We sent out an ad through Community Voice, trying to get to surrounding communities again, trying to get the word out there for people to come and join us that day. We also have created a shirt specific to Drayton Valley for sale. It has the town logo and the DVHT logo on the sleeve as well. It's a wicking material, very nice shirt. We're selling them for $30 or 2 for $50. Another way to try to bring awareness to the event, and also something specific to Drayton Valley, because the merchandise that they bring here won't have anything Drayton Valley on it necessarily.
So the sponsorship program was, well, funny story. We invited Arlene Reed to one of our meetings, and I conveniently introduced her as the sponsorship coordinator, and she said, whoa, 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 I'm just here as an LOC member, I thought, and by the end of the meeting, she'd fallen very nicely into her role, so it was a sneaky way, but we got her on board. And I have to say, thank God we did, because Arlene has done an outstanding job in securing sponsorships. That lady has contacts. So we are very happy to say we have garnered $32,500 in cash sponsorships for this event, which exceeded our goal of $27,000 by leaps and bounds. And then not to be underestimated is the value in kind sponsorship that she was able to garner, which was $7,082. So we are just thrilled to bits with the work that came out of those efforts. And I have to say Arlene was the lead of that team, but there definitely was a team behind her as well to do that work. All of the major naming opportunities that we had, i.e. the pancake breakfast, the volunteer appreciation sponsor, all those event type sponsors that we had named all came through. So every one of those has a sponsor and then some. So we're just thrilled with the work that's been done in that area.
Just to note, the backside of your sheet we handed out has all of our sponsor logos and the levels and all that as well. Community partnerships, so I think we're very proud to say that I think one of really of Sandra's ideas, one of our goals was to engage as many community partners in this community as we could to help make this event bigger than we could pull off just all on our own. So you'll see the list up there that we have helping us out, like CT4DV, for instance, is going to do a 50-50 down at the festival. The DV100, or the Drayton Valley Community Foundation, we've worked with closely, and they're going to have a booth there. The RCMP is doing the bike safety rodeo. They are also a very key piece to this, and our course marshal, or course getting the bike race actually executed. They've been very great to work with. Brighter Futures is going to manage the bike valet that we have at the Telus lot, thanks to Councillor Schuler. And the Drayton Valley 50 Plus Recreation Center will do the pancake breakfast. And yeah, so you see that we're very proud that all these groups have stepped forward and are part of this as well.
Just another shout out though as well for community groups. The Chamber of Commerce has come on very strongly to help back this event. Heather Yakimchuk and her team have been outstanding in doing work to reach out to potential vendors, and that has formed a very nice partnership at our table as well. So just as we come to you today, we do want to formally extend an invitation to all of you councillors to attend the events that we have planned. As we had reviewed on the event schedule, you'll see all the events that are listed there. We would be so happy if you could join us Friday night for the barbecue and bike ride and outdoor movie. We'd love to have council presence at that event. And then, of course, on Saturday, you have access to the VIP tent, of course, which opens at 1:30 p.m. Your passes for the VIP tent will just be held in the tent, so it's not something that you have to bring with you. You'll just check in at the VIP tent and be given a pass there. You will also have 2 passes given to you for that VIP tent. There will be, if you choose to walk or perhaps bike down to the event, we do have a bike valet that will be a secure area that you can leave your bike and just drop it off there, and they'll put it away for you, give you a tag, and your bikes will be secure. or of course, you're invited to walk down. If you need to drive, the best place for you to park will be at the Life Church, and you will be given a parking pass that you can display in your vehicle that will secure your spot there. So please come and join us on Friday and Saturday.
That's all for us, I believe, right now. I know we have a resolution to pass in a while as well here for insurance, but again, I just want to reiterate how I think fulfilling this has been as a volunteer committee to be a part of this. The group from the tour has been really great to work with. The town staff that we've had all experiences with have been rock stars, really. They've gone over and above their job to help us pull this off. And of course, my friend Sandra has taught me a lot, and we have been through the trenches here together, and it's been amazing. So thank you again for the opportunity. We'll see you on the September long weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can take any questions if you have.
Yeah. Thank you both. You've done extraordinary work. It seems you've been busy last little while. And I know you have a very strong team behind you, but thank you both so much. We envisioned this as not only an event at a very high level. We are making sports history, of course, in Drayton Valley with the level of competition that this event brings is unparalleled in our region. But beyond that, we wanted this event to be one that built community capacity. And you've done that to a T. It's extraordinary, the buy-in that you've obtained and partnerships and the sponsorship. On Arlene Reed, I have to say, she has done a fabulous job, including getting Duncan and Craig to participate as a major sponsor, and in her line of work, that's no mean feat. So extraordinary work there. The T-shirt that you held up just a little while ago, is that on sale race day, and is it on sale before that?
It's on sale right now.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to buy them,
Where does one
we're actually going
get
to take
one?
them down to the market today, so they'll
Okay.
be available at the market. But
Okay.
if any of you want one, please just send it to Dwight, and we'll make sure you guys get your shirts.
Dwight is
They
the
do cost
order taker.
$30.
Okay. What's that?
They do cost $30, 2 for
Yep.
50.
Yeah. 2 for 50.
2 for
Oh,
50,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Or $27.50
Yeah.
if you buy 2, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Very good. Yeah. Again, thank you so much. I'll open it up to questions from council. Should you have any? I'll be at your disposal all weekend, the 2nd and 3rd. I will spread myself as thinly as possible to get to every venue. So
Thank you. Thank you.
thanks so much. And I think I'm pretty sure I speak for council in that regard too, whether they know it or not.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, item 6 point, sorry, what do we have? 6.1, yeah, I'm looking at the wrong agenda. 6.1, Staff Sergeant Callahoo with the RCMP July statistics. Good morning. Top that.
You know, that's a hard act to follow up, and I've been in contact with them, and again, it's been very positive, and we're glad that we can assist in any way possible. So, moving forward here into the statistics for July. So, I'm just kind of going to go over the statistical comparison, page 1. If you look at our assault count from 2015 to 2016, we're from 65 at this time of year in 2015 down to 47, which is a fairly significant drop, so something that would be certainly to be noted. Unfortunately, on the property crime side, we seem to be up 41 to 65 on the break-and-enters, and I'll touch on that a little bit when I get into the monthly statistics. Our theft of motor vehicles are up from 35 to 48, but I do have some good news to report on that, and I'll get into that as well. but also, and the only thing that's down would be our emission to property from 166 to 121 for occurrences. Moving forward, again, our false alarms on page 2 are down from 184 to 167, so that is somewhat of a drop, and we're starting to see a little bit more that way still, but still work needs to be done there. On our 5-year traffic summary, I know it says it's currently not available for impaired operation. When I did look at our impaired charges, we had 3 impaireds in July that went to charge, and we had on our system we had 1, and we also had 2 24-hour suspensions, so 3 in total for that month as well. So with that, that's good and helps support the priorities that we have moving forward. Patrol logs for the month, we had 58. That's up. That's specific to actually doing the patrols versus just when you go out to calls. So those are specific targeted patrols for the month. So that's nice to see. And our tickets, we had 58 for the month. 39 of those were written within the town. I know that you've requested the breakdown. We'll get that to you shortly for that, so as well. But just trying to now put that into the presentation a little more. I can tell you that when we get into, I missed a page. Let me flip back here. All right, we get into our statistical comparison July. That would be page number 4, I believe. Page number 4, yes. Assaults. This time last year we had 6. This year we have 2 for this month. Both of those were domestic related. Both subjects were charged accordingly in those matters. And there was actually, in total, there was 3. There was 1 that was an unfounded occurrence, where it wasn't actually deemed to be an assault whatsoever, and it wasn't domestic related. So what these stats show, again, if you look in the upper left, it says all categories contain attempted and or completed. I did some research at the request of Dwight into how this is being scored a little more. In previous council meetings, I've had some stuff that hasn't really lined up sometimes. So I delved a little more into it, and I spoke to our crime analyst for the district to get some more details, and I'll speak more to that as we get into the last page where we have the issues type of situation. So, but what it was there was what they were doing is breaking it down, whereas I had the total amount, they would have what they would consider to be actual, and so I had to define what do they consider as an actual. So that would be things like where there's charges laid, where there's persons that have declined to lay charges, where it's been cleared in another offense, so it's been part of something. And so some of these stats as well on the scoring side will also appear, and I'll get more into that when I get to that actual page because it'll make more sense. But anyway, I don't want to keep moving forward on that, but just you probably should see a lot more consistency now across the board because it'll make more sense that way.
Oh, good.
So if there had been some misdirection in the last times, I do apologize, but now that I have a better idea, just sometimes different districts do things a little bit differently. So moving on, our property. Well, actually, I'll hit the other threats first. We had, let's see here, we had 3 calls in total, but only 1 that was cleared, other in the fact that there was no grounds for charges. It didn't meet the criteria to actually charge somebody, but it was classified as one that actually occurred. Moving to our property, on the break-in enters, we had 7 calls that were actual and 4 that were unfounded, so it shows 7. In that, we had 1 that was a break-in into a house. Nothing was taken. There was a break-in into a garage. Golf clubs were stolen. There was another break-in into a house, and concerningly, a shotgun was stolen out of that residence. There was 2, there was nothing taken, and there's 2 businesses. 1 where copper wire was attempted to be taken, but wasn't. At a local business, another one where there wasn't anything that was taken. So that's on the break and enter side. Moving on to the theft of motor vehicles. This time last year we had 10. For July, we had 6 that month. Of those, we We had one quad stolen that was recovered. We had one truck that was stolen. Unfortunately, it was found burned near Wetaskiwin. We had another 3 trucks that were stolen. One was stolen out of Calgary and recovered here. There was one that was recovered on the lease site and one recovered in the county. And there was a side-by-side, one of those razors, Polaris razors that was stolen. We did locate a subject and charged that subject. That subject is a male by the name of Jason Langiel out of Dragon Valley. So he's been charged before the courts. Moving on to our theft under $5,000. We had 21 occurrences. Of those, 3 were the complainants declined to lay charges. One was a theft of food from a motor vehicle. Another one was the last 2 were where they stole bottles of liquor from local businesses, but one was paid when they were caught, and the other one, the bottle was recovered before they actually got out of the store. We had one incident where it was a gas and dash. In this case, unfortunately, when we did the follow-up, we had found that the subject actually passed away before we were able to get to them. So, concerning stat that came up on the theft from motor vehicles, and that's again, we had 9 incidents where there was theft from the motor vehicles where the doors were unlocked. So again, if I can stress to the general public to secure your vehicles, then that would very likely go down in that case.
Those are all in the theft under 5,000?
Let's see here, the theft under 5,000, yes, that's correct.
Okay.
There was a theft from vehicle where there was some damage, a window was busted out. There was 2 gas and dashes from local businesses. There was a theft of an item from a garage sale. There was one where there was a theft of a license plate from a motor vehicle. So 2 incidents that were shoplifting, where it was food items that were taken from their local grocery stores. And we have 1 gas and dash where charges are pending. We're able to identify a suspect, so we're still waiting for the charges to be laid in that case. So moving on to the frauds, we had 4 incidents. One of those was a check fraud. The subject has been charged. We had one that was an online lending service that's unsolved, but it was also a fraudulent one where they tried to get money and had to pay some money and then went from there. And there was 2 frauds where it was one of those schemes where the person would send you a check for $5,000, and it was for, you only had to take $1,000 of that, and then they said to send the rest back to them, sort of thing. So again, just to stress that if the deal's too good to be true, it usually is. Moving on to our mischief, we're down 1 from 18 to 17 from last year. In this case, there was 2 that declined to lay charges. The issue was they were either smashing some thrown out drywall, or the other one was just a very minor occurrence that they decided they didn't want to proceed. There's 15, unfortunately, where we don't have any suspects, but there was damage to property. So if anyone has any information on that for the public, we certainly appreciate it.
I note, sorry, Staff Sergeant, there's a considerable decline in mischief charges over the last 2 years, 2015 and 16, quite a bit down from previous years. Any, apart from stellar policing, is there any other attribution for that?
I think a great deal of it has to do with part of it being is we don't have the same type of populations right now in town that we did in previous years. Mm. Whether that's business related with the oil field, I know there's been a number of places that are shut down or are not operating right now. So, and I could get into that a little bit further with our stats for the year when we talk about file load and those types of things. So, but considering 2014 where we were going great guns, 2015 is a bit of a different story, just because that's when we started to see the real hit of the decline start to happen. And I suspect we're going to see the same for this year for that. So I would attribute a great deal of it to just the lack of ghost population, the lack of, and again, the increase in property crime, dealing with the economy, dealing with the situation that we're looking at right now with that. I will touch on the vehicle thefts, which are significantly up this year. We've done some work in the area with some special operations. As a result of those operations, we've laid charges against 2 individuals, one from Evansburg and one from locally, that we suspected were involved in a great deal of the vehicle thefts in the area. And as you can see, we're down to 6 this month. I think we had a much more significantly higher rate last month. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but those 2 are currently, one has just been given bail. I think the other one's still sitting in jail. So that's some good news on that front. And great work by our general investigation section on that. Moving forward, again, this past month in July for our false alarms, from 38 last year down to 26. And I'm just going to touch on the last page now with regards to some of the stats that we have been discussing, and I have had some difficulty trying to convey why certain numbers weren't showing up versus other ones. In my discussions with the analyst, I was able to see that it comes down to scoring. So again, as an example, where it says that we have 47 assaults, or spousal abuse, let's see, 94 for spousal abuse, but when we look at the actual numbers for, say, assaults in general for the year, we're looking at, let's see, 47 assaults, but we're looking at 94 spousal abuse. So again, we're trying to figure out why the numbers not match. It has to do with scoring. So as an example, say there's a mischief where it has an element of a spousal situation. So as an example, it could be there's 2 ex-partners that have a mischief incident. That could be scored as a spousal incident, or it could be another threat that's scored as a spousal incident, or it could be, dependent upon the situation, you have someone who damages a vehicle as a mischief, steals something, and then causes an assault. You can have 3 spousal counts on one file. So that's kind of where the multiplication takes place, according to what I've been told. So that's why we see the numbers the way they are. I'm going to touch on the business and residents break and enters and say their issues. If you look at the mean ratio, what that is there, the 52 as an example, the mean is the average of the 5 years. So in this particular case, we are certainly up on the break and enters, and we are certainly up on the residences comparative to other years. Certainly that comes down to, in my opinion, after looking after the files, a great deal of it has to do, I think, with just people are getting desperate, and there's also the crime element of some people that are out that we've taken care of again. That also would include the vehicle theft issues, where there's certain people who do a bunch of the crime, and then now we just picked up a couple of those people, and we've seen a drop as a result. So the other issue that's shown is speeding violations. I think that has to do more with, now that we're getting our correct scoring in place a little more, we've started to push towards the correct scoring a bit. And so we had 58 tickets this month, we have 58 speeding violations. So that's why that's all rolling and matching up now. So I think we're going to start to see some more consistent numbers that way and get a little bit more towards that, because again, once you have a bit more of understanding, you can some adjustments are still being made. With that, I'm open to questions.
All right, thank you very much for that. Councillor Bossert.
Thank you for coming in. Good morning. Sunny morning. Nice to see the sun today. You mentioned in the theft under 5,000 that there were a number of occasions where people were actually stealing food.
Yes.
And that's a great concern to me. I'm wondering, after a person has been apprehended for that crime, are they given any resources to help themselves access food in the community? Because we do have a food bank. It just sounds ludicrous that people in our community have to resort to theft of food when we do have other resources available to us. So I'm just wondering what follow-up there might be for instances like that.
You know, and it's a good point. In these cases where we have this stuff, it is obviously a crime of desperation in a lot of ways. And it's a bit of a situation. We have engaged our victim services unit on some of these. But I think to give you a particular answer of what else has been done on that, I don't think there's a lot besides whether or not we're charging people or not for this. Yeah. So I could follow up with that and give you some better advice later on that. So.
Did you have a question? Councillor Schuler.
Thank you. In the stats under speeding,
Yes.
does that include when Stony Plain or the sheriffs are in town and pull people over? Is that included in these stats, or is
There-
it just a detachment stats?
These are detachment stats. These are ones that are generated within the office. The thing is that there is traffic sections that do come in, and they do write as well. Those numbers aren't necessarily reflected here because it's not generated here. It's generated here, but it's through different units, so those unit numbers are somewhere else. So but again, I'd have to find out when they're coming into town because they have their own set schedule, and they kind of do. And I'm sure sometimes you guys hear about when there's too many tickets that are being written. But I suppose the point is that it's one of those things where they come in and they do a kind of a blitz of the town, and then they leave and go to another community. So these are generated within the town. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. One other thing before we go. We have a new sergeant that I'd just like to introduce the council. If you want to step forward. This is Sergeant Erin Matthews, and I'll just let her say a little bit about herself.
Good morning
Morning.
and welcome.
Yeah, I've moved here a month ago from Edson. I have 17 years with the RCMP, and previously I was in Saskatchewan in F Division. So I'm excited to be in Drayton Valley. It seems to be a great community, and yeah.
Your initial observations are keen and astute. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it seems to be a great place. I'm excited to be here, so
Yeah.
and be part of the team. So.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to Drayton Valley. And Edson's loss is our gain. So we appreciate your presence at the detachment and your work in the community.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you very much. And I forgot to mention you're looking real sharp today there, Tom. So, all right. Take care.
Thank you. We don't mention that to Tom, so he has to get it from somewhere. All right, 7.0 are the decision items. 7.1, Councillor Long, Tour of Alberta Insurance.
Thank you. The Tour of Alberta, as I think we all know, presented by the town of Drayton Valley in partnership with the Drayton Valley Hospitality and Tourism Authority, will be held on Saturday, September 3rd, 2016. Drayton Valley will host Stage 3 finishing stop portion of the tour. As part of the Tour of Alberta stop, the local organising committee has planned a number of activities to take place on Friday, September 2nd and Saturday, September 3rd. A festival area will be set up to welcome athletes and spectators. A variety of vendors and local organisations will be on site with the following services. We've just heard this before, but I will say it again. That's a Rotary Barbecue Supper, Reed Law Family Ride, a drive-in movie at the Clean Energy Technology Centre, a concession hosted by St Anthony Playground Committee, a Bike Valley secure parking for bikes, a pancake breakfast, a kids zone, entertainment stage, metal art, sparkle tattoos, Young Living Oils, global raw pet food, Abbey Cadabbies, Philippa's lemonade stand, photography, Miss Me clothing, stained glass, fishing supplies, inflatables, DV100, Drayton Valley Thunder, Big West Radio, TELUS, Art Guild, the LOC information booth with merchandise sales, volunteer check-in, the Drayton Valley Chamber of Commerce, the DVHTA, Barefoot Creations, Burton's Treasure Chest, Charms and Accessory Clothing, DV Speedway, Fair Trade Products, Hub International, Phoenix Insurance, It Works, Naked Bath Products, Prestigious Imagineering, Sensi, Signature Homestyle, 31 Velvet Fewer Cards, Watkins, the LOC sponsor booths, and Spectator First Aid Tent. The town's insurer has indicated that activities or events endorsed by a resolution of council will be recognised as an insured event, thereby minimising the need for special event insurance. Administration is recommending that the Tour of Alberta festival activities be endorsed by Town Council as an insured activity of the municipality. Therefore, I am happy to move that Town Council endorse the Tour of Alberta festival activities on September 2nd and 3rd, 2016 for coverage under the Town of Drayton Valley's General Liability Insurance.
Thank you very much, Councillor Long. We have a motion before us. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor? Thank you, that is carried. I never realized just how many R's there are, how strong the R's are in Tour of Alberta until just now. So we'll move on to item 7.2. This is just a sideline that I do, it's Glenn's observations as we go through our council agenda. 7.2, Councillor Schuler, Mackenzie Avenue pavement rehabilitation.
Thank you, Your Worship. A public tender was issued for the pavement rehabilitation of Mackenzie Avenue and area streets, including stormwater catchment work on Mackenzie Avenue itself. The tender was issued reflecting a potential staging of the project into two components. Part A, Mackenzie Avenue, and Part B, 40th Street and Meyer Avenue. Based on initial costing estimates from Stantec, our engineering consultant, on this project, it was anticipated that both Part A and Part B could be completed within the financial parameters of our 2016 capital budget. However, upon review of bids received, all exceeding the budget established for the full project. Following is a breakdown of the bids for Part A, Part B, and the total amount for the Mackenzie Avenue pavement rehabilitation project. So we have Central City Asphalt Limited. Part A was $785,360.40. Part B was $388,820.30 for a total of $1,174,180.70. Parkway Enterprises Limited. Part A was $829,842.75. Part B was $363,631.40 for a total of $1,193,474.15. Border Paving Limited. Part A was $870,981.10. Part B was $396,550. And total was $1,267,531.11. Earthwise Construction Limited, Part A was $906,539.90. Part B was $408,024.41 for a total of $1,314,864.31. And E Construction Limited, Part A was $1,059,360.50. Part B was $377,601.40 for a total of $1,436,961.90. This project was anticipated to be funded out of the Town Infrastructure Lifecycle Rehabilitation Project Fund, which is comprised of $1 million from Municipal Sustainability Initiative capital grant dollars provided by the province. The tender was issued so that, dependent upon the bids, Part B would be an optional element. Accordingly, there are budgetary funds available in the 2016 capital budget to proceed with Part A of the project. The low overall tender was from Central City Asphalt Limited of Black Falls, Alberta, in the amount of $1,174,180.70 for the total project, and $785,360.40 for Part A alone. The next lowest tender was from Parkway Enterprises Limited of Drayton Valley, Alberta, which was slightly higher than the total project bid from Central City Asphalt Limited, and approximately $45,000 above Part A only bid of Central City Asphalt Limited. Parkway Enterprises was the only local contractor who bid on this project. Criteria used in evaluating a contract include contractor qualifications, availability, past experience, and familiarity with the work, as well as bid amount and price competitiveness. I have three options that I can go with, and I'd like to go with option number 2. So I therefore move that we award Part A, Mackenzie Avenue Pavement Rehabilitation Project to Parkway Enterprises Limited of Drayton Valley, Alberta, for $829,842.75 plus GST and a 10% contingency.
Thank you very much, Councillor Schuler. We'll have discussion on the motion. Any comments? Councillor Frederickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can understand the desire to support local business because of the way the economy is. However, the economy is struggling, and it's struggling for everyone, including the municipality. We've been asked to keep taxes low as a means to assist businesses, all businesses. The best way to begin doing this is by increasing our purchasing power of every penny that leaves this building. Drayton Valley predominantly has a large shadow population economy. We know better than most communities that bringing purchasing power into the local economy is just as effective economic development tool as injecting monies directly into local bricks and mortar businesses. This council has lauded the need for economic development and business attraction. It seems moot point to say we're open for business if our decisions speak to some form of economic protectionism. The best decision-making criteria for any consumer should be, is it the best price and do I trust the seller? So I ask administration, does the low bid and the second lowest bid have the same track record for providing timely and on-budget service, or does the second lowest bid have some sort of unique selling proposition that would make that $20,000 to $45,000 difference necessary? I can understand paying more if it means that there's less headaches, there's less hand-holding, we're able to recoup those costs in customer service. However, just awarding a bid based on where their main office is something that at this point I don't support.
And so just before I turn it over to Mr. Dimon, of course, I was going to invite administration to provide any commentary they see appropriate in this, including why the matter has come to council. And of course, it's, in my judgment, entirely appropriate for it to come to council under the circumstances. We recently approved an updated procurement policy, and Mr. Dimon may get into that a little bit. I don't want to foreshadow or presume what he's going to say, but I suspect in the course of his comments he'll address Councillor Frederickson's questions. I do want to point out that nowhere in Councillor Schuler's motion was there a presumption that the local bid wins because it's the local bid. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dimon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, Council. Thank you for your questions, Councillor Frederickson, and I may ask the Director of Engineering and Development following my comments if there's anything he wishes to supplement in terms of specifics of the bids. I would ask him to do so. Speaking to the recent changes in the procurement and tendering policy, the two reasons that we wanted to have this matter before Council, and as Councillor Schuler pointed out in the initial commentary, there are options based on the number of bids. One option, and with our initial estimation of the total value of work, was exceeded. And so as per the policy, any project that exceeds $1 million in general construction would have to flow to council. Even though not necessarily outlined as an option, council could choose to award the entire project. And if that had been an eventuality, that would have certainly have been a council decision. Because we were breaking this and the recommendation to break this into two components, the total project was still envisioned to be over that threshold amount. So we wished it to be before council so that they were aware of the nature of this bid and what the values were. Speaking to the specifics of the go-forward approach on proceeding with option A, there is a difference in price, approximately $45,000. The spread between the low bid and the next lowest bid exceeded just slightly 5%. Because it exceeded 5%, that falls outside of the discretion of the CAO in terms of awarding the contract. So if that was an option, and it is an option for council to consider, and it chose to be the desired option, that would need to be a council decision in awarding that aspect. So to the mayor's points on process, both within the letter and the spirit of the policy, administration felt it appropriate to have this item at the council table. In terms of the specific questions that Councillor Frederickson put forward, I would indicate that we looked at this piece of work and we wanted to put it out to public tender to see and to, as has been some advice given to us by not just local but regional contractors and aspects before, two elements. One is with the recent economic situation, there might have been an opportunity to take advantage of competitive pricing. So we wanted to test that. Unfortunately, we did not see the pricing that we hoped to receive in overall tenders. It's certainly not something that fell in line with what Stantec had indicated to us we might likely see as far as total project. Hence why the third option has also been outlined that council may choose or want to consider not making an award at this time. Looking at Part A and the work, price and price competitiveness is certainly a key option, and I certainly understand the sentiment expressed, and I think administration would certainly echo the concern to ensure the maximum purchasing power of every dollar. Price and price competitiveness is one factor. It is not the only factor by which a bid is evaluated and put forward and considered when engineering and when administration looks at ranking the projects and the processes. One of the aspects that I note in terms of my time here in the municipality is I think it comes down to the tug and the pull of price competitiveness outside attraction, but also maximizing and taking advantage of the resources and the critical mass that we have within a community. Mr. Fraser may be able to speak more in terms of the bids and the details of the bids as far as the prime, but also the subs and other elements that may be utilized on this activity. I try, when these bids come in, not to look at these things with other factors in place. But my time and my experience with the local contractor that has bid, Parkway, has certainly been one of responsiveness, one in terms of prudent cost. And we do know that in a municipality, we do have unexpected and unforeseen elements and activities. We have had issues with valves, mains, brakes, incidences and collisions that have, and we do benefit from having this capacity local in the community. And from my perspective, Parkway has been a very responsive and responsible business element and contributor to the community in terms of its service and its price. And therefore, from an administration perspective, we had no hesitancy in framing that out and also outlining that as an option for council's consideration. So maybe with those framing comments, I would just ask if Mr. Fraser had any more specifics that he might want to contribute at this time, or we can respond to any other detailed questions that might be there.
Ron?
I don't really have much to add from what our CAO said. I think both companies are excellent companies. I've had prior experience with Central City in my prior working career. They do a good job. I echo the same comments our CAO said about Parkway. They've been very responsive and very helpful. That's about all I can offer.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Schuler, you had a question?
Not really a question, more just a statement. I think there's a few things that council needs to look at when awarding these, and price isn't the only thing. When we look at awarding a contract to a local company, there's other things that the community achieves from that. One is donations to local charities and things. If I'm not mistaken, in the last year, Parkway has made contributions worth at least $38,000. That goes a long way to supporting our town. Also, Parkway hires local residents. So, we're supporting our economy rather than having those funds flow out of the economy and don't get back into the town. So I think that has a lot of bearing as well that we don't see in the tender pricing. And then, as Mr. Diven indicated, that local knowledge, when something unexpected happens down the road, we have the local, contractor that did the work initially knows exactly what was done. And that potentially has savings down the road where they know exactly, what was put in, how it was put in, where it was put in, and, can save a lot of time, and time is money. So, I think it's council's responsibility whenever possible to support local business. And, when we have bids that are, in that 5% difference, 5.45%, to me, that's a rounding error. I think it's council's responsibility to keep our local economy going and support our local business. So I definitely would be in favor of awarding this to a local company when the bids are that close.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Long.
Thank you. I have given this one a lot of thought because it's a complex and difficult issue. But one of the key points in our economic development plan is to try and support local business whenever possible and to build capacity locally. We actually have our economic development officer in the room. I don't know, Eric, if you'd like to speak to this at all. The issue is the question of the additional value we get in the local economy by paying an extra 5% on a project that would otherwise go out of town. I realize I'm putting you on the spot there, so.
Indeed you are.
Yeah.
But he seems up for it, so. Eric, if you have any thoughts, no matter how concise they may be.
Yeah, well, I will highlight that in the strategy, we laid out what we call a strategic lens. And the lens is meant to help not only shape a proactive approach in economic development, but it also helps to provide a way of looking at information as it comes forward. And the strategic lens is to generally ask the question, how can this promote, strengthen, advance, and leverage local entrepreneurs? So I I guess that's all I'll offer up right now. That I think is at the heart of Powered by Entrepreneurs. So thanks for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Frederickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm trying to keep away from the local argument here. Essentially, there's a 5% cost with bid number 2 over bid number 1. We are assuming that the dollars stay in the community. I don't police the dollars that are spent, not spent, spent online, spent wherever. It's not my job to do that. Also, local is such a vague criteria. Are the multinationals in our community local? Are the franchisees in our community local? I want to stay away from the local argument, and what is the difference between the companies that puts one company over the other, or what makes that extra 5% worth it? And whether that means, like you had said, with having the historical knowledge, or if it makes it easier on administration time so that they're not, using up dollars on time on projects and stuff. That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking about the charitable things and the fact that they are locally here. What sells on that 5%?
Sorry, Mr. Fraser, you have an answer to that?
Sorry. What would sell on the 5%? I guess if we had, prior poor experience with a particular contractor, maybe a history of claims, unresolved issues, that sort of thing, that would factor into it. Or if we knew from other track records from other communities that a particular contractor was unable to properly execute some of the work, that would come into it. The one caution I would say about this is we are operating under the Agreement in Internal Trade and the Canada New West Partnership, so we have to be very careful that we're not choosing contractors based on local preference. There's actually language in those documents against that. However, it's fair ball to, look at experience and other factors like that.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Fraser. And what I would say on that, and I think Mr. Dibben wants to comment as well, is that the New West Partnership and the Agreement on Internal Trade indicate that shopping local should not be the only reason for which one procures services locally. They do not preclude consideration of that. Mr. Dibben?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to get more specific to the second round of questioning, Councillor Frederickson. I think one element I can indicate is that in terms of looking at that and part of the aspect or what one could reasonably expect in a project, we have seen in other construction projects and other aspects along those lines, because we have awarded contracts to outside and non-community firms, local presence and attentiveness to issues and aspects along those lines. And now I'm thinking about 43rd Avenue and some of the elements we've experienced with weather and other delays and other elements along those lines. When we do look at outside firms or outside management supervision consultants, engineers along those lines, we do minimize our potential of costs if indeed those supervisors, contractors, and aspects are locally sourced. We do know with Parkway that we do have a history, and history can be one indicator of future tact. It is not a guarantee, but we have seen that the subs and other elements along those lines have also been drawn locally. So it does speak to a timeliness element. It does speak to an ability to be responsive when we have inclement weather conditions, as we have had, and staging and responding to then when things do clear and when all of a sudden the project is aspect. Certainly contractors marshal to where other projects are. They task out their workforce to where the work can be done. And as we've seen in the past, and as Parkway's history has shown us, when we have had issues, regardless of when they occur, whether they're during normal working hours or whether they're at 2 in the morning when a main breaks, their attention and responsiveness is immediate. It is quick, and the quality of their work is I would, what I've experienced in my time here has been far above a standard of acceptability. So all of those factors along those lines matter to me, and that is part of the reason why, from an administrative perspective, that we were not just focused on price. We were looking at all of the factors that are utilized in reviewing these bids, and why we didn't have a hesitation outlining that as an option for council to consider.
I think one thing it's evident in the background, or maybe bears repeating here before I ask one final request for discussion. The funding is sourced from provincial government grant in the form of municipal sustainability initiative dollars, and so although all dollars are public money, must be treated with the utmost care and respect. The significance of the MSI funding here is that funding can only be used for selected types of projects. This happens to be one where it's appropriate. And so in that respect, in that narrow respect, as provincial government grant dollars, it doesn't have direct impact on monies locally raised through taxation, property tax. So I just thought that bears repeating. It is in the background, of course, but any other questions, comments? Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you. I think looking at this, for me, it came down to if you have one from in or out, either way they are going to be putting money back into the economy, but it comes down to capacity building. And what we have here in our community is a community that is a little bit farther removed than some of the big cities, and we don't have other options. So I think that it's important I look at the lens from the whole community and what we need here and what we have here and what we can build for in the future. So.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? None at all? Okay, we have a motion before us. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. All right, item 7.3.
Thank you.
Councillor Wheeler.
At the request of administration members responsible for the various town facilities, the attached town facilities rules of conduct policy has been prepared and is being presented today for council's approval. This policy is intended to provide a basic, consistent set of expectations for the users of town facilities, with the expectation that each facility may create site-specific rules and regulations. In keeping with the recent bylaws and policies adopted by the town, including the Community Standards Bylaw, the Parks and Public Facilities Bylaw, and the Outdoor Events Policy, this proposed policy reiterates a consistent set of expectations for facility users and their application by town employees. Therefore, I move that Council approve the Town Facility Rules of Conduct Policy A0416 as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. Any discussion on this motion? All right. Councillor Bossert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think proposing a policy such as this, what it does, in my opinion, it gives our employees a tool to use for the conduct of people that are in our facilities to not only can they move on something that they see inappropriate in our community, this policy now backs them up and gives them that assurance that this is a directive of the town. We want our facilities to be safe for all, including our employees, and I think this policy is a good measure towards that step.
Thank you very much. Anything further? All right. Call the question. All in favor? That is carried. At this point, I'm going to call a short break, and we'll reconvene in 10 minutes. Go ahead and fire it up again. So I'll call the meeting back to order. We have item 8.0 is department reports. 8.1, engineering and development. Ron Fraser.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and Council. So maybe briefly, just quickly, I'll just go over the planning and development report before I get into the engineering. So there were, since the last meeting, there were 2 development permits issued, one for a secondary suite and a detached garage, and another one for a temporary patio. The first one was residential, the second one was commercial. There were also 3 business licenses issued, one for a video production company, another one for a food court, and a third one for cleaning handyman business. As far as the long-range planning, I know we've been involved with collecting survey results on the placemaking initiative. So I know we've got over 400 responses on that, and our development manager of planning and development, he's busy reviewing them, and he's going to be summarizing them, and we'll be bringing those results forward sometime in the future shortly. With respect to the 50th Street area structure plan, the draft has been received. It's been circulated to all the department heads for and section heads for review. So the plan would be to integrate the feedback there and ultimately bring it to GNP for discussion. As far as engineering is concerned, I know we've got a lot of things to talk about the events the last couple of days with all the intense water, very intense water that we experienced. However, before I go there, I'll just give an update on a few of the other projects. The Aurora School paving, I may have mentioned this before, I'm not sure, but anyway, it is complete. All the paving's done, and it's all ready for the school opening. That's for the parking lot there. Mackenzie Avenue paving, we discussed that this morning, so that project will be awarded shortly. We also tendered a contract for slope and drainage rehabilitation on Cooley Road. We have all the tenders. They're still under review, and I anticipate we'll likely be making an award on that shortly as well. We are tendering another project, which is the Biomall Stormwater Management Facility outfall. So it's basically an outfall pipe and kind of a head wall and some riprap and berm construction on the pond at the CETC. So that's to control the outflow on high water levels down there. So that'll be tendered this Thursday, and will close on September 8th. With respect to the 43rd Avenue extension, obviously they've been experiencing a tremendous amount of rain this year. So they're behind schedule. However, the plan is to paving to commence in September, and we're planning to have this open this fall. And then next year, they'll be doing the final lift and to complete the project. We've been doing a lot of work in reviewing our capital projects and operating expenditures in year to see where there could be potential cost savings, or just make sure we're managing efficiently and effectively. We're also working heavily on the capital and operating programs for 2017 and beyond. We have completed our sanitary trunk main flushing in the southwest quadrant for this year. We're now going to concentrate on issues that we're having with manholes and in terms of infiltration, and some of the manholes are they're getting older. There's been some ground shifting, some rings have been moved aside, so we also think that's contributing to the problem. So that's something we'll be focusing on over the next year or two. We have had an investigation of our town roads done from a condition perspective and also for sidewalks, and we're feeding that information into our asset management inventory, It's early stages. We're largely collecting all this information on a basic database, but I know our IT manager, he's looking at some modules, software modules, and eventually we'll be incorporating all this data into a more comprehensive system. We're also undertaking early work on the collecting all the data for underground facilities, and that'll be entered as well. The McElhaney traffic control study a draft has been received. From initial looks, it looks very good. They put a lot of thought into it, a lot of effort. They've got a ton of recommendations, and so eventually, like probably fairly soon, we'll be bringing that forward to GNP for discussion. As I mentioned, maybe some just broad strokes as to some of the issues that we've had the last couple of days with all the rain. I know we've had, I believe it was something like 133 millimeters in 24 hours, so that's about 5 1/4 inches. So if that was snow, it would be like 5 1/3 feet or something. That's a lot. Actually, probably, sorry, just over 4 feet. Sorry, my math's a little bit off there. But anyway, it has taxed our system. The intensity and the duration was highly unusual, and other communities have suffered as well, such as Westlock, which actually had less rain than we did, but they actually incurred significantly more flooding. We did have a power pole in the bad weather go down south of the rodeo grounds. It went down Monday evening. However, it was secured by Public Works staff. It was de-energized, and yesterday it was repaired and the power restored. As far as the ponds, like a lot of our ponds were really taxed to the limit with the rain, but they all held and they controlled the outflow as they were supposed to do. There was some local flooding on 62nd Street, the ring road at 43rd Avenue, because that project's not complete and the temporary ditches really couldn't handle all the water that well. And we had some culvert and road erosion at Range Road 75, south of Highway 22. Detours have been set up and barriers erected, and road and bank repairs are underway. As far as utilities are concerned, there were stresses at the wastewater treatment facility with all the high levels of water being returned to the plant, the facility, I should say. And there were some issues with the south sanitary trunk and just in terms of the huge amount of water and the drainage that was going into the manholes. So our staff are heavily working on those, making sure everything's intact and working properly. I have brought Paul Ma, our manager of Public Works here, and Bill Adams, our manager of utilities here, in case the council would like to ask more detailed questions about some of the issues that occurred over the past couple of days, or concerns.
I think I have just a general, a request of a general nature. I don't expect that it would be fully addressed here today, but what I'd like to see for council to discuss with administration is a bit of a debrief on an event such as this. It's a bit unusual, and what we need to get our heads around more comprehensively than perhaps has been done in the past is our infrastructure meeting our needs as a community appropriately? What are the weak points? And then, of course, what that means to our capital budget going forward. So it's if this had to come at a particular time prior to budget, would be a good time. So with that, I'll open it up to council if they have questions of Ron or Paul or Bill. Anybody? Councillor Bossert.
I suspect that, Mr. Fraser, you can help me with this one. I had a call 2 nights ago from a homeowner who was experiencing sewer backup in their home as a result of the heavy rainfall. And my understanding, and this is where I feel I might need some correction, is that are not the sanitary lines and the gray or stormwater lines separate? And how can an overflow in the stormwater system affect a sewer system?
Maybe I'll just make a general comment because I'm not sure on the specifics of this, but if you do have overland flow and you can have infiltration into the manholes in the sanitary system, so they can get overtaxed that way, just through ground drainage. But I'll pass it on to Bill in case he's got some additional comments.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. What Mr. Fraser said about overland flow is correct in one way. Old practice in building houses was that the storm leaders or roof spouts from houses would drain into the sanitary main, as well as sump pumps draining in the sanitary main. That is still happening in the town in some areas, not in all. It has reduced quite a bit, but it has in some. Some of the other areas have been, and the one particular area that I believe you're talking about, Councillor, is a lot of new development has gone in there where there's been multi-family dwellings in there, and the sewer system line seems to be small, too small to handle all the additional flow, because we've had problems in that area before, and it's just a small area in town that feed a smaller trunk that feeds a larger trunk.
Very good. Anything further for? Yeah.
So just because of densification in that area, then perhaps we have more going into the sewer lines, and the lines just haven't kept up with the capacity in the densification of that area. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct. That's part of the reason. The other part is what Mr. Fraser said, just with the heavy overland flow into the manholes.
Okay, thank you very much.
One of the observations I made during the thick of the rain activity was driving down 50th Avenue in particular, headed east, was like a river. The storm sewers didn't seem to be able to keep up with it, and I wasn't clear on whether, because the water covered everything, whether it was we didn't have capacity in the sewer system to take it, or was it the grates were clogged, and was that the source of the problem, or was it both? Or do we have any sense of that from a Public Works perspective? Alma, I knew I'd get you both up here at some point. So.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, councillors, and administration, and everybody else present. To answer your question, Public Works has been working diligently cleaning catch basins. Whenever we have a rain, any amount of rainfall, crews go out and they attack all the catch basins. So I'm pretty confident that that is looked after. So when we have an initial storm like this or a high weather rain event, the storms are open, but as you can imagine, anything that is in the gutters, if there is anything, debris, leaves, branches that fall, they will travel down the gutters with the storm water. And so it's a continuous process to keep the catch basins open, and they do that. Right. So I don't think that's a problem. I think it's just a matter of the amount of heavy rainfall all at one time.
Okay, very good, thanks. Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you all. Mr. Fraser, were you concluding? Yeah, your report is done? Yeah.
Yes, it's complete. Thank you.
Okay. I had a question about the status of the new park. Is that Public Works or is that a community development? Okay. You're on. Ms. Treason.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council.
Sorry for the informal introduction, but there you go.
So, yeah, I can certainly go on to the status of the new park. Certainly the rain this entire summer has wreaked havoc with the scheduling of our contractors on it. But we have one contractor scheduled this week to work on the picnic tables, the benches, and the garbage receptacles to put them in there. Obviously, Monday was delayed because of the rain, so as soon as they're able to start moving on that, they will. The outdoor fitness equipment is coming in the middle of September, between the second week to third week of September, and will be installed in the facility. The outdoor rink will be around the same time, middle of September, for the outdoor rink to be constructed on site. And then, of course, once all that major construction work is done, the final work on just the loam material and seating will occur. I think as far as the signage is concerned, with respect to the signage, we are waiting, of course, to find out what will happen with the naming of the park, and we'll try to make sure that the naming of the park is then reflected within the signage. So we still have to get design work done for the signage, so the signage will happen much later for the park, but certainly when it comes to things like regulatory signage, I know we're working with Public Works on what type of regulatory signage we need within the park. I think that concludes, for the most part, the elements of the park. There are still some things that we're holding off until, of course, we find out just how far the budget can go. That would be the public barbecue fire pit area. That's one thing that we are holding off at this point in time. Yes.
Sorry, Councillor Wheeler?
Just wondering about how many name submissions you've had, if there's been a few, or if the community's...
I can say at this point in time we have received some, but I am encouraging people to please submit. And I did make that as a note that we have our deadline coming up on September 2nd for people to submit their suggestions, so we are encouraging people to do so.
Can you submit more than one on that Survey Monkey? Because I can't. It only took one. Extremely disappointed because I have a million of them. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Well, if it doesn't work that way, I mean, you can certainly just submit it directly to my email address. So I think that's.
But then it won't be anonymous. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry, please, Councillor Blosser, you got it?
Sorry, if I might interrupt. I just wanted to say that I spent some time in the park last week before I had a meeting in the area, and walked through the park quite extensively and came across some youngsters on skateboards and scooters. So I chatted with these young lads and I said, what do you think of this new park? And they just love it. They think it's awesome. All the asphalt pathways and, of course, linking it with the skateboard park for them has been wonderful. And I myself was very impressed with the park. It's really quite an attractive, inviting area, will be even more so when all things are in place. So I just wanted to extend that the community is really impressed with the area, and thank you for continuing to move the project forward.
Got anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
Not an interruption at all. It was on the list. Just I want to encourage everybody to watch their mail coming next week. We have the fall program brochures being distributed in the mail, and a number of things will be listed within that brochure, including all of the courses and personal training programs put on through Total Works Health and Fitness. And there are a lot, so please take a look at them. Introduction of new instructors and new personal trainers in the program guide as well. Also within that, of course, making sure that people are keeping in touch with things such as the Community Registration Night, which is happening September 6th at the Almaplex. That same night is also taking advantage of the people coming into the center, is going to be the grand opening or reopening, whatever you want to call it, of the Total Works Health and Fitness Center on September 6th. So again, just to let people see the conclusion of all of the changes that have been made within the fitness center. Also within that brochure, items such as the Park and Play program for kids, trying to, again, reconnect children with nature. We also have on September 14th, the pickleball courts, the grand opening of the pickleball courts on September 14th, so that continues to be a popular sport. And anybody who sells products, certainly taking advantage of making sure that they're telling the world that it's the fastest growing sport in the world right now, so it's good to hear. And the last thing is just simply to remind the public that if they want to take a look at the Recreation and Culture Master Plan, the plan itself is on the website, available for review, and if anybody has any comments, to please do so prior to the end of this month. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? We've exhausted them all. Okay, thank you. Economic Development, Eric Burton.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I just wanted to share a brief highlights of some recent activity. So first of all, there was a Chamber of Commerce meeting last week that I attended, and I presented the new economic development strategy, and it was tremendously well received. They're very excited to further explore how they can be collaborators in implementing that strategy. So I'm looking forward to that. They're also going through a process of reviewing their bylaws, and which I think is a really good exercise, and also indicates the seriousness in which they're taking their roles. And as part of that, they're also appointed a new team of volunteers who have stepped forward to help drive forward the Chamber, and the Chamber is working closely with the Alberta Chamber of Commerce to work through the more technical details of making sure that the Chamber is moving forward strong. And one of the other items is that they're starting to work on a business and entrepreneur toolkit, which closely dovetails with some of the work that we had envisioned, and so we'll try to build synergies there and work together on that. Coming down the pike, we have a number of presentations set up. We're going to we have a meeting tomorrow morning at the CDC with community partners to talk about the strategy, to share, but also begin a more earnest discussion about how we can partner to implement the strategy. We're scheduled to present to the Rotary Club on September 15th, and we're working on a real estate roundtable to engage real estate stakeholders on the challenges and opportunities of utilizing local assets to support entrepreneurship. So that's the highlights of economic development.
Any questions? All right. Do you have an anticipated date for this real estate roundtable?
Yeah, we're trying to firm it up on September 15th at 4:30. So we're working with, so we've done some preliminary outreach to some of the real estate leaders in the community, just to help make sure that our initial thinking makes sense. And we're trying to find a time that really fits with people's schedules so that we get a strong turnout, and then we'll continue to try to raise broader awareness for the event.
All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. Emergency Services, 8.4, Chief Thompson.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Council. If I could have Council refer to pages 31 and 32 of your package for the July stats for the fire department. We responded to 27 calls in total. In regards to fire calls, we responded to one serious fire call, which involved a local industry in which two oil storage tanks were on fire. Fortunately enough, our local fire department and the company's staff were able to get it under control and have it well at hand by the time the industrial fire department showed up from a fair ways away. In terms of grass fires, we responded to one small one. As council can imagine, we've had a wet summer, so we haven't had to respond to too many grass fires. In terms of motor vehicle collisions, we responded to 3 motor vehicle collisions, 3 of which were single vehicle rollovers. One was a collision involving a vehicle and a deer, and the last one was a 2-vehicle motor vehicle collision, all of which the individuals had minor injuries. We also responded to 1 rescue call, which involved not a human, but a dog that was trapped underneath a shed. So we had to assist by lifting the shed to get the animal out from underneath the shed. So the homeowner was extremely grateful that we were able to do that for them. We also responded to 10 alarm calls. 8 of them were from local businesses. One of them was a repeat offender, and they have been dealt with through our false alarm bylaw. We also responded to 2 residential alarms as well. In terms of assisting another agency, we responded to 5 of these, 4 of which were to assist EMS. One involved a lift and assist. Another one involved a patient who unfortunately fell down some stairs, so we had to assist in getting the individual out of that situation. We also had a situation with a patient that had fallen off of a horse in a long ways out in the field, so we had to assist with that one. And then we were dealing with a Stars Landing, in which we helped with a critical ill patient be transported to the city. The last assist was to assist the RCMP with an individual who was trying to elude them and decided to go for a swim in the North Saskatchewan River. Got across to an island and realized they were in a world of hurt and a world of trouble, so we had to use our jet boat to go out and assist them with that. In the final category, in terms of miscellaneous calls, we responded to an incident at our local swimming pool, which involved the boiler giving way and caused some issues there. We responded to a carbon monoxide alarm at a local residence, and due to the weather, we've had several incidents of power lines being down, so we responded to a power line down and a transformer explosion near a local school. And that rounded out the total for 27. In regards to some other things involving emergency services, last night was our first Traffic Advisory Committee meeting, which we got to meet all of the new members on the committee. I'm very pleased to announce to council that the people that are on the committee really want to address the traffic safety concerns that are in our community, and we're looking forward to working with them. So it should be a real positive committee for us. That's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Frederickson? Maybe Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just wondering if there's been any new movement with the training center.
In regards to the training center, I can give council a more detailed update of where we're at. The engineering master plan has been completed, and currently right now I'm working with the consultants on developing the PR component, the communication component, as well. We're looking at getting the courses and everything set up for that facility. So it's moving ahead. It kind of goes in spurts. Sometimes we just roll along, and then sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But things are moving forward.
Thank you. Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. In regards to the assisting other agencies, when it is a lifting kind of assist, do they tell you guys that ahead of time, or does the whole truck roll out with everyone to see what's there?
In most situations, when it's a lift and assist incident, We're dealing with a patient that requires a lot of hands, so we do respond. We don't respond a full response. We'll respond one truck with 3 or 4 members out to assist. If it's involving a situation where, for example, the horse situation where it was way out in a field, that requires a few more people. So we do get that information prior to, so we can staff trucks and respond accordingly.
All right, thanks very much. We will move on to 8.5, administration. We'll start with communications and marketing. Tyler Russell.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and Council. How are you
Morning.
this morning? Good. Everybody's pretty quiet this morning. All right, fair enough, fair enough. Here's my report for the communications and marketing. Branding, we're continuing to promote our brand within the community. The front sign has been changed. I hope everybody was able to see it as they came in this morning for council. Of course, also, we do have our My Drayton Valley that does wrap up this Friday. So if you have any last-minute pictures that you want to be able to submit on Instagram, hashtag My Drayton Valley. I'm still willing to be able to set up Instagram accounts if people want to be able to go and do that. Also, automated traffic enforcement information on the Safe and Healthy Community Fund has been added to our website. It is now, it's under the automated traffic enforcement section. So if you want to go and check that out. Also, of course, we will have that mailer within our utility bills as soon as we possibly can. Also, we do have statistics on our website as well, and I'll get into that when I talk about our website. The Tour of Alberta planning is coming together. I'm sure you've already heard our first update earlier today, and then we, of course, will have more updates as it does continue. All the volunteers gone above and beyond. They've just done so great. Our local organizing committee is just outstanding. I'm so excited to be able to have this event, and I can't wait for everybody to go and see that. Also, businesses and residents along the route have been notified as well. Good morning. What else do we have here? Of course, Ms. Stone and I will be heading to Edmonton to go see our commercials that we have had produced. We're really excited about that. We're going to go see that on Friday in Edmonton. Also, Council will be able to view these next week when we actually have them in our possession. Our website, Interactive Maps. I'm really excited to be able to tell Council about this. Interactive Maps have been created, and a big thank you to Jorge Gonzalez, and of course Leonard Rogers, it's his department, has done an outstanding job of putting interactive maps on our website. They're very, very close to mirroring what is on the Camrose website, and they are just spectacular. Such a beautiful job. I can't say enough about how amazing they look. Please, I encourage everyone to go and check them out. If you want to know where the Pokestops are, they're on there as well. Which is also going to be promoted during our Tour of Alberta stop to encourage people to be able to be part of it.
These maps are they also accessible through the app?
Yes, sir, they are.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also, we have our back to school communications beginning on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday next week. So please stay informed for that. And of course, our statistics for the automated traffic enforcement under our AT section are available on our website right now. They are in a chart form. You can go and check that out as soon as we do have more updated statistics. We, of course, will update that as soon as we can. Also, we do have the survey, the new park name, as Mr. Eason did mention, and I am in the process of making sure that, Mr. Mayor, you are able to get 3 or 4 or 5 more responses, if you'd like, to be able to have that available. And the Rec and Culture Master Plan is available. You can read the entire Rec and Master Culture Plan on our website, as well as you can submit submissions that are available there for you as well. All the contact information is available, so thank you.
And I see you've also got the answers to the various questions that were presented at our last council meeting on the part of some concerned citizens in relation to automated traffic enforcement, so thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
As well. All right, any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dibben, to the CAO report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Morning, Council. Let me begin by first thanking council for their support for the town facilities rules of conduct policy and enabling that to be put in place. Council's concerns, not just for its citizens, but also for town staff, and ensuring they have the tools necessary to conduct their operations is greatly appreciated. Further to the mayor's comment following the engineering and development report on a situation, event, incident debrief, appreciate the request. Certainly we will do that. It is also something that we plan to do with council for other notable events or occurrences. The tour of Alberta and a full debrief following the event and festivities is something we plan for as soon as we have the debrief from the local organizing committee along with the tour, but we do want to have a full discussion and debrief of that undertaking. And as well, once a number of things are in place, we also wish to do that with council in terms of what the community experience turned out and was thought to be in terms of being a reception center for Fort McMurray evacuees as well. And certainly there's been an interim debrief amongst the committee, some elements that speak to our emergency response planning and other activities, engagement with other agencies and elements, and what are the learnings and what can we take away from this that, heaven forbid that these things happen with more overriding frequency, but to take stock of our response and what we can take from these things when the situation does present itself. As mentioned in other reports, an awful lot of, I would say, not just leadership team time, but administration time on matters such as in-year budget aspects, planning for 2017, as has been referred to in a couple of other reports, and certainly the tour of Alberta and activities and elements ramping up for that with town staff that are directly a part of the local organizing committee, but also town staff who are volunteering the days of doing things to help set up elements and aspects along those lines, and greatly appreciated that staff find the time to do, in addition to all their other duties and responsibilities, which are not abating. It just seems like they are continuing to pile on, but for those things that put the best face of the community and position us going forward, they're really important things to do, and I am very pleased to be able to say that, the staff as ambassadors of the community see that and want to be a part of that as well. Maybe just two other quick elements. The latest mediation session on our 690 appeal to the MGB was held on August 15th, and we have the next session that is scheduled for September 21st. Some notions and revised options were presented to the town from the county. Those are being contemplated right now with a response that will be provided back in advance of the next session that's on the 21st. And I think that in terms of in the past few weeks since the last council meeting, an awful lot of, not just in my calendar and phone calls and off-site meetings as well, but I know for a number of individuals on the leadership team, just a number of different meetings and engagements with citizens on a whole myriad of issues and aspects, whether that be dealing with unsightly premises, parking concerns, fencing issues on public spaces and even in private spaces. Council is aware that in terms of our community standards bylaw, we are taking a more active posture where citizen and incident reports are made to look at redressing those elements. We have seen, I think, some action on the part of landowners and property owners who may not be resident to address some of these issues. As I understand it, in some cases, some of these are long-standing issues, and we will be continuing our efforts along those lines to first advise, work with property owners, but then also undertake whatever corrective action might be needed to help address these aspects so that compliance is achieved as well. And I appreciate the comments that were made as we enter into Budget 2017 capital plan deliberations. I think the extreme water event of the past few days has only served to reinforce from administration's perspective, obviously from council's perspective as well, that we do have infrastructure, we do have basic facilities that we need to take care of, that we need to maintain. And we do know that we have some facilities and some infrastructure that has not seen attention in quite a while. And that does need to be an overriding consideration and concern going forward that we will utilize as we move next month into initial discussions with Council on Budget 2017 and beyond. So with that, I'll stop and ask if there's any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dillon. Councillor Frederickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of our presentation from Tour of Alberta, as well as the motion for Tour of Alberta, I know initially when we discussed this, we talked about this event being a launch pad for that tourism promotion industry and in Drayton Valley. So what I'm wondering, because you had mentioned about doing follow-up in your report just now, do we have a plan, or has there been discussion with our economic development officer in terms of how we're going to create this as that springboard to ride that momentum after this event comes and goes? I would really just hate to see it be an event. I want it, to be momentum.
Mr. Dillon?
An excellent point, and certainly that is what we want to do. Part of this is not just the lead up and the day of, and the aspect, but part of what would be then the outcomes and the legacy effects of such an event are key and very important, and need to be follow up lest that momentum be lost. One of the opportunities, Mr. Russell mentioned it as well, is with the commercial opportunities, is we looked at those in a fashion that were relevant to the event, but were relevant to our longer-term objectives in economic development, tourism potential, and really the untapped nature of that from our perspective and our collective understanding right now. Part of that is also a more active engagement with our partners in Travel Alberta. With that, we can do what we can do. We will never have the facilities, the resources, or the scope that an organization such as they do, but we really need to bring all of the actors together in capitalizing on that and looking at that for 2017 and beyond, and that is most definitely on our collective radar scopes as the outcomes in September and into October. I also must send my compliments to the Hospitality and Tourism Authority in that they are looking at this not just as the day of and their active participation both physically and financially, but really have embraced the notion that Council has wanted to see in that organization about destination marketing, and not looking at it as simply just a site-based activity, but a community-based undertaking and approach that I think is really helping to reorient that mindset as well. So our hope is that, yes, this is a springboard that we can capitalize, and it would be a real shame if it was just, a great weekend and nothing more came.
All right, thanks so much. Anything further? Okay. Thank you. Council reports 9.1, Councillor Bossert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. August 4th, I was able to take part in the FCSS tour. We do this every year, and FCSS board members and members of council and community are able to go and visit a number of programs that FCSS supports through granting funds. We were able to visit summer day camps for Brighter Futures, the Boys and Girls Club, and also the Drayton Valley Parks program. And I have to say that there was no lack of opportunity for young children and youth to be engaged in the community this summer. There was many wonderful programs for them, and I was really pleased to see the coordination in the community of all those programs for our youth and our children, and actually very proud of FCSS and what we work towards for programming in our community. So that was a very enjoyable day. Always love getting out to see what's going on in the area. August 8th, there was a Homelessness and Poverty Reduction Strategy Team meeting, and also want to remind the community again that on September 16th to 17th, we're having the Chilling Out in DV overnight event to raise awareness for homelessness in our community. It is an overnight event where individuals, participants are sleeping outside and experiencing what it is like to not have that secure roof over their heads. For more information on that event, you can contact myself or Emily Hickman, who is our homelessness and poverty coordinator. On August 15th, I attended the Healthy Communities Coalition for Councillor Frederickson. an amazing group. I don't sit on this committee on a regular basis, but they are very active for a number of different initiatives in our community. One of them being working with the PCCS, and PCCS is having a domestic violence and your workplace workshop on August 26th. And I think that it is a great opportunity for employers and OH&S supervisors and even employees to attend and learn more about safety in their workplace and just to support the ongoing work of PCCS. We also want to tip our hat to Katie Hickman, who is leaving PCCS to follow career and her career in Edmonton, I believe. She's done an amazing job with PCCS for the last 2 years, and we will miss her greatly. I wanted to make a quick comment about our new branding and logo in the community. Although the town has been very diligent, thank you, Mr. Russell, for ongoing advertisement on radio, TV, newspaper, sorry, not TV, social media. The word is still not getting out as to what our new brand or our new logo actually mean. And I just encourage people to contact council if you have any more questions about why we move forward with new branding for our community. Our town is about to turn 60, and I think it was a great opportunity, good timing to refresh some of the images of our community, and council would be more than happy to speak with you about the new work that we have done for branding our community. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bossert. Councillor Frederickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's, things have been on hiatus this August, so essentially I had 2 meetings, both with Brazeau Seniors Foundation, one on the 22nd and one on the 4th. That's all I have to report.
All right. Councillor Long.
Boy. Okay, I joined Councillor Bossert on the 4th, seems a long time ago now, because it was sunny, on the FCSS tour, which was always interesting. I've attended the last several years as a former chair of that board. It's interesting to see how much they've... well, some of the programs are the same as we had 10 years ago, and a lot of them are brand new and doing interesting things and taking things in interesting directions. Not much since then. On the 15th, Councillor Schuler and myself met with Prasad Panda. He is a Calgary MLA, I forget the riding, and he is the Wild Rose spokesman on economic development. He visited us at the Clean Energy Centre with our own MLA, Mark Smith, and I think was on, I think fact-finding is probably the best way of describing what he was doing. But asked some questions about where we see things going, particularly for the clean energy section, and then was heading off with Mark, I think, for a tour of some other facilities in town. Later on that day, I had the Drayton Valley Community Foundation meeting. DV100 coming up in a couple of weeks. We have a team, and we are going to be slow, I guarantee you. Yeah, I will leave it there. Thank you.
That's impressive. Well, you know, you got to know your limitations. Councillor Schuler.
Well, that's an interesting report to follow. And on the topic of it being slow, August has been kind of quiet. So just a couple things to report. August 12th, had a meeting for sustainability, and I'll let our chair give a little more into that one. Of course, August 15th, as Councillor Long indicated, the meeting with MLA Panda and Smith. August 19th, the Clean Energy and Technology Center Committee. And it's, just want to say that there are some good things coming out of that. I think hopefully within the next few months we will see some interesting projects come forward, so they are working very diligent. And I think that is all I have to report. It's been kind of a quiet month.
All right, thanks very much. Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. Yes, we did have a Sustainability Committee meeting where we were discussing a lot of follow-up from when we reviewed the plan, kind of where we're at, getting some stats from different people and collecting. I also had an Agriplex Committee meeting, and we're discussing actual pricing now that we've kind of established what the community is looking for in a facility, of what expenses could look like, and also revenue streams options could be for it. And then the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance did the tour of the Headwater region on the river. So the elected officials from our 9 municipalities that participate in that board engaged in solutions to issues being faced in the region, which supplies water to approximately 33% of Albertans. We canoed in the historic Voyager canoes down the river from Horburg to Rocky Mountain House. It took a good few hours. We had a lot of fun. So as the designated Watershed Planning Advisory Council for the North Saskatchewan River Basin, the NWSA is mandated under Water for Life to engage stakeholders and lead the watershed planning process. In 2012, the NSWA completed the Integrated Watershed Management Plan for the North Saskatchewan River. Implementation of this plan is well underway in key regions of the watershed, including the Headwaters region, which is where we belong. Strategically chosen to maximize ecological services to Albertans is how they broke the plan out. Ecological services include flood, drought mitigation, resilience to climate change, conservation of biodiversity, and the security of drinking water sources. The Headwaters region of the North Saskatchewan River supplies water to over 1 million people in this province, including the capital region and many others downstream. The tour of the Headwaters was initiated by the subcommittee of the NWSA called the Headwaters Alliance, which is made up of elected officials from the 9 municipalities who combine jurisdictions over the headwaters upstream. As designated land managers under the Municipal Government Act, these municipalities are working together to mitigate the effects of their land use decisions on the quality and quantity of water traveling downstream. It is their hope that by collaborating together with the help of provincial tools, funding, and regulations, that they will be enabled to make strategic land use decisions that are suitable for the region. So we had 5 MLAs join us that day, and they were all very excited. In each canoe, we had someone who was an expertise on paddling, thank goodness. So there was a few rapid sections. Someone who had a background in kind of biodiversity or parts of the river or what was happening on water quality. And then we also stopped the next day. We did tour on the bus, and we stopped at the water treatment plant. We stopped at an aggregate pit. We talked at the Abraham Dam about the effects of recreational use out there, what the Clearwater County is doing and what Brazeau County is doing. They're both working together. And yeah, everyone was really engaged and really appreciative of the work that we're doing collectively, because it does affect all of us, and I think it's important that when we're talking about the region of the water, we all need the water, and so the more we can do together, the better it is. And it was a really great day. All the feedback we've had so far has been really positive, and people are looking forward to doing it again. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Over the last couple of weeks, just in amongst regular meetings with the CETC Committee, Governance and Priorities, several meetings in the office, there's a few things coming up that I really want to highlight. They've been mentioned, or some of them have been mentioned. Of course, the park naming, park naming initiative, we've given, is it September 1st? 2nd, sorry, as the date for submissions for suggestions on naming of the new park space. I would add, I kind of sound like a broken record, but that is the single most significant effort towards neighborhood revitalization this town has ever undertaken, and so we would, we encourage the public to participate in the naming of that jewel in our community. Of course, the Tour of Alberta coming up September 2nd and 3rd. We look forward to that. I mentioned earlier today, the organizers have really taken hold of that and created a very meaningful community capacity building exercise and undertaking. They've involved individuals and organizations from throughout the community in some very creative ways, and we look forward to that. It is, as I said earlier, sports history in Drayton Valley. Councillor Bossert mentioned this, the Chillin' in Drayton, I think that's what, Chillin' in DV exercise to bring attention to circumstances surrounding homelessness and poverty, happening on the 16th and 17th, well, overnight of the 16th primarily. I'll be participating in that, and encourage others to sign up as well, just to get that experience and a deeper understanding of the challenges we face, and hopefully some solutions that might occur to us as a result. And September 30th, September 16th as well, earlier in the afternoon, the grand opening of the water treatment plant, I believe 1 o'clock, 1 until 3. And invitations have been issued. Is that correct, Rita? Yep, okay. September 30th, the Mayor's Luncheon and Community Achievement Awards. I'm very much looking forward to that. Of course, that event used to be the Mayor's Gala, well, still is the Mayor's Gala in most years, but this year we've elected to fashion it as a luncheon event to hopefully make it more accessible for those who may not find an evening event accessible, and otherwise it'll have a slightly different flavor, but the main thrust of it is recognition of the good work that goes on in the community by various individuals and groups. So we're looking forward to that. And I know Mr. Russell's going to be busy promoting every one of these things over the next little while. In fact, he already is. So look for that. And that is my report. So it's really prospective. Item 10 is the information items. 10.1, Sustainability Committee meeting notes for July 15th and 22nd. 10.2 is the RCMP July statistics. 10.3 is Drayton Valley Brazeau County Fire Services July statistics. And 10.4 is Councillor Bossert's conference reports for the FCM conference and the Economic Sustainability course she attended. So could I get a motion to receive those as information? Councillor Frederickson, all in favor? That is carried. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Schuler, all in favor? It's carried. We're adjourned.